Okay, this is the planning board meeting of October 21st. Our first item is a public hearing, but my understanding is we are opening the public hearing. So is there a motion to open the public hearing? Motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Well, now we're adjourning the public hearing because they're not here and not ready. So is there a motion to adjourn the public hearing? Motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. First one's done.
Is it Joe? No, that's, I
No.
think that's different.
Oh,
so she owns.
So do we have a date on that, Felicia?
We're hoping for November 18th,
Okay. So
right? Or November 5th, I'm sorry.
I think
November
the issue
5th.
was that,
Mr. Chairman, you have to announce the date of
Okay.
adjournment.
so that will be then November 18th,
November 5th.
November 5th.
Yeah, my mistake.
Okay. All right, good. All right, thank you.
That is a Wednesday.
Yeah, cause the fourth is
Yeah,
Yeah.
election day.
Oh, yeah.
Did we know where we're going to be that day?
We're gonna be in here,
Oh, really?
as far as I'm aware.
Okay. So if you're here, we'll come with you. Great. Our next item is consideration of the resolution for the Newcastle Fire Department, number 491 King Street. This is an application for a site development plan amendment for modifications of the previously approved site lighting. So we have, excuse me, some changes in the proposed resolution that we received this afternoon. We all should have some copies. You got the red line copies for Sabrina
Yes.
and Felicia. So Sabrina, do you want to explain those?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman, good evening, everyone. As you know, you have for the past couple of meetings discussed lighting at the firehouse property. There was a change from your last meeting to today. It was determined that the light pole in the easternmost parking lot, instead of being against the property line within the town's easement, it has now been shifted towards the building. And as a result, the light pole has increased in height from 15.2 feet to 20 feet. There has been a lot of back and forth with the applicant. Earlier this week, you did receive a plan that shows the photometrics from that 20-foot pole, and there is some light spillage over onto the neighbor's property. He is okay with that, as the landscape planting along the property line will grow to block that light within 3 to 5 years. So what I would like to do now, if you don't have any questions about that, I can go through the changes in the resolution which reflect that.
Yep, please.
Go ahead.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay. So on the first page, line 43, we added the words replacement of existing lighting. That was a correction that the applicant had made.
Can we also insert the word replacement of all existing? Because my understanding is they have made the commitment to replace all of the existing lighting.
Sure.
That's correct.
I just added it in there. I'm gonna type live if there are changes so that it's easy of everyone. And then on the next page, on page 2, this is the increase in the height of pole, this whereas clause, which then talks about illumination at the far end of what that illumination will be, from 0.2 foot candles or less to 5.5 foot candles. And then the next whereas clause, we added language, the applicant added language regarding the spotlight for the flagpole. That will be illuminated from dusk to dawn, as well as the 4 designated lights on the building. And then moving down, again, addition of the light for the flagpole. And on line 46, it talks about the spillage onto the neighbor's property, which will be blocked by the landscaping planting along the property line. And that's just a call out to recognize that, because we did call out the recognition of the spillage on the northern 2 properties. This is a change of the Kelvin color temperature of 2700 Kelvin.
Right at the bottom. Sabrina, I had a question or a thought for us. Line 33 and 34. we agreed that they could have the lights on during the course of building uses, whether it's meetings, et cetera. But I would suggest, again, tightening this up a little bit more, and that is the earlier of the end of building use or 10 o'clock PM. Because if you're gonna finish up your meeting at 9 o'clock, then the lights should come off, because you're no longer, working at a meeting or whatever it is that they're doing. So I would suggest that we have that in there, the earlier of building use, cessation of building use or 10 o'clock. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they're gonna control the lights, but I would assume that there'd be
I
a
would
way to
assume
do
once
it.
they finish,
Yeah.
they can turn them all off once
Yeah.
they all leave. Through some sort of mechanism.
Where they'll go off while they're meeting, cause there's no movement outside and.
Well, yeah, I was thinking that when they have a meeting, that they would have some sort of manual device that the lights would be on the whole time and not just motion control, but I think that's just up to them.
Is this change consistent with what you wanted, Mr. Chairman?
More glasses.
I think you need to put the word until before the earlier of, until, I think.
Remain on until.
Okay,
Thank you, Lynn.
yep, thanks, Lynn.
Okay,
Are we gonna go through all your stuff or do we wanna go through stuff line by line?
I was just gonna highlight all of the changes. If you wanna stop me to add or question, I would encourage you to do so.
I'm asking you, how do you prefer going through it?
As we go, I think.
Okay, then can we go on line 32?
Sure.
Can we set a time frame? Because less than 20 minutes is 19 minutes and 59 seconds. So can we maybe make that 10 minutes?
Joe, would you like to respond to that?
Well, in the discussions with Sabrina earlier today, I spoke to the electrical engineer for the project, and I understand that the stretch code maximum is 15 minutes. So I would think that, I think the fire district is gonna find a time that works, for them, but, if we change it to 15 minutes.
So it's the duration that the motion sensors operate, right? So if somebody goes outside and they trigger the motion sensors, it goes on for 15 minutes. And then if somebody moves again 2 seconds later, it resets to 15 and keeps resetting. So that's why I wanted to go down to 10, because if there's people there, it's just gonna keep resetting and resetting and resetting and resetting. That's why I suggested 10. 15, if the rest of the board's okay with 15, then I'm fine with 15.
It is what's permitted by code, that's all,
Well, you said 15 minutes was the maximum by the stretch code, so 15 is
Yes.
maximum. So maximum doesn't mean it's permitted, maximum just means the maximum it could be on. We're suggesting it's less.
yes. And,
Does anybody on the board have thoughts?
or you could say sensor mechanics and not more than 15 minutes.
Okay. I
I'm
think
okay with
15 minutes is a reasonable.
Okay. 15 then.
Yep, that works for me.
that. Stuart, are you
Yeah,
okay
that's
with 15? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess all I was gonna say is maybe I misunderstood, but I guess the predicate of the paragraph though does say that the motion sensor lighting shall be programmed to remain on only for it's the minimum duration necessary.
Right, which is as opposed to the maximum.
And this is, 15 is the max.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
Good?
Because we don't really know what the minimum duration is until they really get in there and start operating, and if there's a.
But Joe, you do understand that it resets every time somebody moves. So even if you made it for 1 minute and there's people there, it's gonna just keep resetting and resetting and resetting. I was more concerned with somebody's there and then they leave and for 20 minutes, all those lights stay on. That's what I was more concerned about. And
Understood.
15 is better than 20, and the rest of the board's okay with 15, so I'm gonna shut up.
Okay,
Alright, moving on.
me too.
Moving on, line 47 is increasing and blocking of the landscaping I already mentioned. Changing on the next page, from 3,000 to 2,700 Kelvin. This addition on line 52 on page 3 is the new information we received today or late yesterday from Joe referencing his new cover letter and then on the next page is the new lighting analysis prepared by WLS which shows the photometrics for the 20-foot poles. And then the last changes are in the conditions. So the conditions, we added, we renumbered them and added a couple of different ones. We actually added a condition to amend the site plan to indicate the 20-foot light pole in this village on the lighting plan, and then to remove fixture C8, which was already discussed to be removed. And then condition number 4 is actually amending the notes on the site plan. So they're consistent with what the board had decided regarding the 4 lights on the building to be on from dusk to dawn, and all other fixtures shall be on motion sensors, adding the spotlight for the flagpole. And then the last condition under amending the notes relates to the landscape buffer. In consideration of the placement of the light pole with a 20-foot mounting height, which causes light spillage over the property line, which is to be dissipated by the landscape plantings, the town environmental coordinator shall perform inspections of the landscape buffer at 3, 4, and 5-year intervals after the buffer is planted to ensure appropriate screening is occurring. If it is determined by the town environmental coordinator that additional planting is necessary, the applicant shall install the additional planting as directed by the town environmental coordinator.
And Dennis, are we going back to the original planting plan so that we have those larger trees and we're not just putting in shrubs? So it's reverting back to the original plan?
Yeah, that was my understanding. It's kind of what was approved and
Right.
we're gonna continue with that.
Okay.
And then I guess.
Because the other would have been a change, then you go back to the
Right,
shrubs.
right,
Okay, got it.
exactly. And then I would imagine then, I'll be out there with my sleeping bag because to do this during the day would be pointless. And see
Bring
if it's
binoculars for the
working.
light.
Gotta do it on a night with no moon also.
Right. Awareness course.
I got it like anthropic.
And the last condition is as discussed with the board is in regard to providing a post-construction photometric analysis to try and reduce light spillage offsite and to verify that the lighting that has been installed is according to plan.
Good. Thank you, Sabrina.
That's it. You're welcome.
I just have one question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My only question is just, you also saw the October 17th letter, so is there anything though about when the plantings, when that's gonna occur? I understand the plan, but like when do they plant?
Prior to the CO, it's already, I think, in the original approval, I would think.
Okay.
Yes, prior to CBO.
You don't get a CBO until, right.
Do you mean timing wise to it?
Yeah, I was just curious as to timing wise, I understand that there's a plan to, plant the
Right.
trees and then that provides the buffer, I was just curious as to when that
It's
happens.
a fair question. Winter's out, summer's not recommended, spring and fall is your.
And usually the planting is at the end,
But it-
because you want to get beat up.
Construction sequencing, when is the parking lot finished?
I don't know specifically about the parking lot or the lighting, but I understand right now that the end of construction is anticipated to be June of next year. So I would anticipate that the planting would be sometime mid to late spring. Not that I wanna lock into that because I don't know what's gonna happen with the construction schedule and I don't wanna have to come back to you. But, it is something that, in order to get our CO, we need to certify that the project was built substantially in accordance with the approved site plans, which will state that the landscape planting was done in accordance with everything, and all of it was done in accordance with substantially in accordance with the plan. So, I don't think we're gonna, put in the lighting and have lighting operating and whatever for a year or 6 months or something. The board wants to be in the building, the fire district.
And we're not gonna issue a C of O until the planting is done.
Yes,
Would
yes.
you issue a TCO?
Although,
Well, I would rather not issue TCOs, it's not
well,
our preference.
I understand it's not your preference, but there has been discussion with the building inspector about a TCO for some of the areas, so, and I don't know the schedule right now, it's not, I don't have it at my fingertips, but when the parking lot is done, they need to be able to use that parking lot to get into the main building while they finish the interior of the expansion. And again, I don't know the timing.
So what I would like to recommend, Joe, and maybe this is something that can happen in my conversations with the building inspector, is that if that parking lot is finished, then the planting must be installed. If the seasonality aligns.
I would, if the seasonality aligns, I have no issue with that. If it says that it's, with, the next, whatever the word is, the next, reasonable planting season, if it's, because if it's in December or January, obviously we're not planting.
Right, but I'd rather plant in April as opposed to early June.
If the parking lot is in operation, I would say yes, at least in the area of the parking lot, we should plant there.
Okay, so I will take a look at the construction schedule for the board and ensure that we get the planting planted as early as we possibly can, pending seasonality. I don't think we need to incorporate it in the resolution, we can look at the construction schedule.
Great, and obviously Dennis, that would be very important to make sure you check it frequently for maintenance, make sure that the trees are surviving. Even again, that this is a transition zone, and this is one of those areas that we're trying as much as possible to buffer.
Right, and this is a pretty thin corridor probably that's gonna be between two areas of pavement, so some type of irrigation I think is gonna be important as well, if you guys want these to survive.
And I will note that the original resolution also has a condition that we have to provide a buffer maintenance plan and provide you with a letter for 3 or 5 years, I can't remember the duration.
10 years.
Is it 10? All right, well, whatever.
All right,
Okay, great. So,
any other changes to the resolution?
more questions?
I'm just crossing Ts and dotting Is. Those changes we made earlier will be reflected on 4D and 4E on page 6. You didn't do them live when we were talking. You made
I
some,
did them live,
oh, you did them on page 6 too?
and 4D,
And 4E?
oh, I did not, thank you for pointing that out. I will do it right now.
That's all I had.
Anyone else, anything? Okay.
We need a motion
yes.
as noted.
Yeah, is there a motion to adopt the resolution as amended this evening?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion's carried. The resolution's approved, even as it's being typed up live.
Typed up.
Again, many thanks, Joe, for all your help. Much appreciate your patience working with us and to the commissioners. I said the same to you, Glenn, but you're a lawyer, so whatever.
All right, well, thank you very much, we appreciate the board's attention to this, and hope to see you next time on a different project.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Keep our audience on its edge, waiting for Joe to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another item. This is an amendment to the resolution of approval. This is for Bach Capital de Boer, 1015 Hardscrabble Road. This is an application for a site development plan approval, wetland permit, tree removal permit, stormwater management, and erosion and sedimentation control for construction of a single-family residence. Were any of you on the board when this was approved?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, Peter?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Gregory with DTS Providence Design. We were the project engineer for this application. And we're kind of pleased to report that after about 6 to 8 months, we finally had received our construction permit application approved from the Westchester County Health Department. And we had provided that with updated plans that had addressed the conditions that were in the resolution. I have been working with Mr. Scioli. There was some question regarding changes that had taken place since the last time we were before the board when it was voted on, I think last December. And if you recall, our presentation had proposed that we were going to we were representing that we were going to request a waiver to place fill in the expansion area as part of the septic system installation. We were led to believe that this was a candidate for that with the Westchester County Health Department, but during the review, they had decided that it would be best to, develop that area, install the fill, and as a result of that, there was a change to the plan. Fortunately, I think the board had asked about this and wanted to see what the impacts would be in the event that the expansion area had to be utilized to repair that system. And at the time, we had shown that. And as a result of that additional work, there was an increase in the disturbance to the area on the site as well as in the buffer area. That plan was, ultimately was reviewed and voted upon and approved, and then we had started our process with the health department. And as a result of the health department application, we had to slightly modify the layout of the septic, including the fill in the expansion area, and as a result, the area, the disturbances had improved. We had actually were able, based on the modified layout, that there is a reduction of approximately 244 square feet of disturbance associated with the overall disturbance and within the buffer. And we've been working with Mr. Scioli on this for the past 3 or 4 weeks, just to clarify what had transpired over that 6 to 8 months while reviewing, the application with the health department. And I think I'm comfortable that we were able, I think, to explain what had taken place. But out of that discussion came the fact that the New York State DEC hadn't seen the changes to the plan since they approved the permit in February of 2024. And in September, we had forwarded a set of plans, and we did receive an email back that they had indicated that they felt that the changes that were being made were minor enough that it wouldn't require an amended approval, and that the plans that we had forwarded up to them, at that point would be acceptable. We have since submitted hard copies up to the state to see if they would be willing to stamp and sign those as no objection. We're waiting to hear back from them on that. But I did receive an email. We did provide that with our submitted material. Hopefully you've seen it. But at least we have some assurance that the DC hopefully has looked at what we had provided to them and acknowledged receipt, and that they're accepting it as amended approved plans. The other thing that worked out to our benefit was that the plans that were originally approved when we showed the expansion area on the plans, that we were approximately 35 feet away from the wetlands with our disturbance line. And as a result of the health department revisions and the reduction in the disturbance for those areas, we were also able to increase the separation distance by 10 feet. And now we are up to a 45-foot separation between our disturbance and the closest wetland point on the rear of the site. Those dimensions were recorded in our waiver request and we also had to prepare a declaration of the waiver. And those are documented and have been filed in the county clerk's office land records as being, connected with the deed. That was a requirement of the health department. Upon their approval, those documents were prepared and filed. And we do have proof of that. I don't think I've submitted the proof, but we do have proof of those filings as part of the construction permit application approval.
So
That's a lot, so I'd be willing to help and answer any questions that, we may have on that.
So it appears to me that you were able to save the additional 244 square feet of wetland buffer by putting in a rock wall, and pulling back the disturbance, I guess, or the grading.
That's correct. We implemented this landscape wall, landscape boulders. It's not going to be a structural wall. It's part of the grading. And we've also adjusted. We had to shift the system, I think, to the west slightly, because we needed to maintain a 10-foot separation distance to the property line, the eastern property line. So the combination of shifting it west and implementing those boulders to help with the regrading, we were able to increase the separation distance to the wetlands and reduce the total area disturbance with that from what had been the last plan that you had seen before the board.
Unofficially, do you think it was the Board of Health's just unfamiliar with this aerobic system that you were proposing, and they were just a little bit nervous and wanted to make sure they had extra protection just in case?
No, they are familiar with this product. In fact, they look very favorably on the unit that we have proposed. There are a number, from what I'm hearing now, that are in operation throughout the area. I think it was more in line with the waiver request. We have received a waiver to install the system within the 100-foot regulated area. And I think that what the county wanted to be comfortable with was that we didn't need any other waivers. They weren't going to allow a waiver for the placement of the fill. And we had to maintain our separation distance to the property line. So with those, I think that is what really played into it more so than the actual enhanced treatment unit that's being proposed.
Okay, Bob, you had some comments?
No, I think Peter did an excellent job explaining everything I thought I had to explain, but he explains it a lot better than I do. So, no, just for the board's information, I've been working with Pete for quite a while to get all these items done, and they did a monumental job, commendable job on everything, and all the waivers, and the EC permit, they've all been obtained. I have it in the files, everything's been looked at. I just have a few minor comments on the notes of the latest plan, Mr. Chairman, for your signature, and I told Pete I would just give him those notes. It's basically a note that will change the limits of disturbance to actually a clearing and grading limit line, because there's notes on the plan themselves that refer to a clearing and grading, so I don't want to create any confusion. So I just have some minor comments on the latest plan, but they're pretty much 98.9% of everything they had to do for all the conditions that was on the previous resolution. So we're heading in the right direction, Mr. Chairman.
Great, and you're comfortable with moving forward without the no objection letter from the EC on the minor changes?
Yes, because Mr. Gregory did send up the plans that were submitted to us for your signature to the state. They have all that in front of them. They wrote back that they have no objection to it. So they have the plans that we looked at, so I'm comfortable with that.
Good.
Those are the emails with Catherine Chaffin?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Okay, so we have a resolution before us that reflects these changes. Anyone have any questions on the resolution? If not, is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Well, I had one question, if I can
Oh,
bring something up. There's two things, actually three things I picked up. Sabrina, I'm not sure if maybe you picked up on this also, but on page 1, in the first whereas, paragraph. The plans, the site plan dated February 6, 2023, last revised August 19th. The last plan that the planning board had reviewed was dated, original date of October 15, 2024.
And so, Peter, we corrected that.
Okay.
Because while it was submitted, it was not recognized in the final resolution.
Okay.
Alright, so we added in here,
Later on, it does come up. I see
right,
it.
we made a mistake, I'll say that. We cited in the resolution not the last plan that was submitted, but the plan before that.
Okay.
And even though it was submitted, we did not include it as the final adopted plan, so we went back and in this resolution, we correct that.
Okay. And I agree with that date of August 19th. That's consistent with the other dates that I had that preceded that.
Yeah, and so
and the-
we included that as the whereas in here.
Okay, and then in the third whereas, just in terms of orientation on the site, I was just confused because now we're looking at it very closely. The Chapakua Swim and Tennis Club. The right-of-way is located to the north of the site, while the club itself is to the east.
Right.
And I thought the north was important because those were the, adjacent to that northern right-of-way were the additional wetlands that Dennis Corelli had asked us to locate on the plan. So,
I just changed north, let me track changes here. Okay, so I changed east to north.
yeah, and then on page 2, 1, 2, 3, 4th whereas, there's just a stray letter in there, and I didn't know if there was something else intended there. Westchester County Department of Health, D.
No
Did-
F letter.
Is that supposed to be did not or would not? I didn't
There it
know.
says would not, we'll just get rid of the D.
Okay, that was it.
Any other changes?
No.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the resolution with those changes that we just discussed?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution is approved and set. Thank you very much. And our
Thank you.
next item is
Thank you.
yep.
Thank you.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
Good night. The minutes of October 7. Any changes, problems?
Line 12 on the second page, pan should be plan. It was included with the alternate life plan.
Anyone else, anything?
I'd love to see video for more details.
Yeah, I like the 17 note.
I had no idea how that worked.
And I was gonna ask, because if you would have typed it, it was pages.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which all reverted back to the original.
yes, yeah, no, but I'm glad you had that note there.
Anyone else, anything? If not, as amended, is there a motion to adopt the minutes of October 7th?
Motion?
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And is there a motion to close the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.